And we're here.
Are we here?
Welcome, Martijn.
Welcome, Stefan.
Thank you very much.
How are you going?
I'm doing very good. It's a little hot.
Yeah.
It's a little hot.
Yeah. I think the computer agrees with you.
I think so too, yeah. My computer just had a moment of tiredness. I don't know.
He had a moment.
He had a moment, though. He had a hissy fit. So, but now we're here, and we're ready to talk about stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, we have quite a good show today. So we started at 7:45 simply because of the reason that at 8 we will start our pre-order party. So
Here we are at the pre-order party because we've got a lot of, very exciting stuff actually.
Yeah.
Ready to show the people. We've seen it, obviously, and we think it's very cool.
Yeah, it has been.
And we're very, very interested in knowing what the guys here in the chat and all our fans, think about it.
Yeah. So we're at the our workshop at the Krone as usual, and Stefan is right in front of me, but we because of COVID we actually need to be apart.
You actually need to scooch a little bit more to that.
Like
a little
this,
bit over
right?
there. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So that's good. So it may look like we talk to each other, and that's true. But we simply want to make sure that we keep safe.
Yep.
Well, it has been a very few busy weeks for us
Yeah.
here at the Krone. We had 2 training days for the WTC yesterday and the day before. While CJ was still working on all the designs, and right now something is happening to my screen. I don't know what is happening, but I can see your screen.
Oh. Well.
So it's a weird little funky.
And you're
thing
back.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
And we're back. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So that doesn't matter.
Apparently, I can't open any windows because
Yeah.
then it'll switch over to the window.
That's no problem.
I know why that is, though.
Yeah. I have a technical guy here now. He actually explained OBS to me like the last few episodes, but I think he's a bit more experienced than I am.
Fix it.
Yeah. So it actually is a blast working with Stefan, our propaganda officer, because he has been doing this for how long have you been our propaganda officer now?
How long have we been?
I think the first stream was 1.5 years ago, maybe a year ago.
Yeah, I think I jumped in. Didn't I jump in right from the start? Maybe not the first event. Maybe not the first event, but
at least the last GT and I think the No Surrender before that. So No Surrender actually was the first one.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. That's about a year ago. We started like the full stream that we have today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
been working on the stream. Been improving on the stream. I'm kind of like the technical guy, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah. So Dennie actually says it about right. Since we have been like Alliance Open brand.
Yeah.
You have been a part of the crew.
Yeah, I think so, man. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a blast.
It's been
a blast.
Definitely is. So what we're gonna do today is actually very easy. We're gonna talk a little about what we have going on at our events.
I'm excited.
What we're going on. Painting competition that we just started again. We talking numbers as usual, like I do every week. And then after that we'll open the pre-orders for all our new terrain. We have about 10 new kits, even more than 10 new kits to show you guys. And it's been a combination of multiple older designs as well, so it's going to be awesome. And after that, you've seen that Yapyahu or Dennie is online. He's in from Hong Kong.
Yeah, as we like to call it, D from HK.
Yeah, D from HK.
There he is.
And it currently is 2:00 over there. So just so you guys know that how late it is over there. And we actually pre-recorded an interview. I did that with Dennie, and then we'll show that. It's about 50 minutes or so. We'll talk about how he's doing. We'll talk about how everything is in Hong Kong.
For sure.
And we're talking COVID because we simply have to. For our event, there are multiple things we have to consider, and that's something we really needed to talk about.
Yep.
And Stefan hasn't even seen the video yet, so he's going to be surprised as well.
Yeah, and we've recorded. Apparently, we've recorded a video, or you did, with Dennie, and we have some interesting talk about, like you said, about COVID. Some stuff people need to know. Some stuff we'll be doing to ensure that people can safely visit our events.
Yep.
And minimize any risks, because that's something we all like, I think. And yeah, we've got some interesting topics here on the table for today.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna look at Stefan because he wrote it down. The first one is gonna be like the painting competition, right?
Yes, we're going to talk about the painting competition, which is this time titled Size Matters.
Size Matters, yeah, and that name was actually brought up by Daniel Konjevic, one of our the guy who won last week. Some of you may have seen the show with his Eldari winning model, and he actually got to pick the next one, and he chose Size Matters, meaning that it has to be a model of 50 millimeters or bigger, or it has to have a hole.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a Venom, but it could also be a Forge-ruled Storm Eagle if you feel like going big, or it could be a Stampa. And Stefan, what will you do? What model will you show?
I've actually started working on a Mega Boss and Maw Crusher, and that's from the Age of Sigmar range, from the Iron Jaws, or the Orc Warclans as they now call them.
It's like the dragon, right?
Yeah, it's a big wyvern. It has wings. It can fly. You wouldn't think it.
If anyone has ever seen How to Train a Dragon, he reminds me of the big one with the small little feathers, where you think that should never fly at all. It's like the bumblebee of the dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that seems like an awesome pick. You've actually built it already. You started painting a little bit, but
yeah, kind of. Look, I already started a little bit on it, but you know, it was so little.
Yeah, so
it basically was a base coat spray, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't really count. I've converted it as well with some stuff. It's put on some bigger weapons and stuff. You know, yeah. The bigger the better with orcs.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, so that's what I've got cooking.
So we have our biggest AOS player from our Discord server actually live right now with Agnes. So that's hello Agnes, good to see you. Well, this will make you happy. I will pitch in my Bastillidon as my painting challenge for this month.
Mm-hmm.
And as some of you may know, painting for me is a real challenge. I have a hard time getting into the painting vibe, and simply because I have a lot of things I like to do with AO, I usually keep forgetting about painting. But this actually, Seraphon actually made me happy when I was 7, so I think it can make me happy again when I'm 33, right?
I mean, Seraphon's been, or Lizardmen have been around since the beginning of Warhammer Fantasy, so it's very cool that they're
third or fourth. That's when my brother actually bought the Warhammer Fantasy kit, and I was like, oh, those Lizardmen are awesome. So,
and I don't know. Bastillidons are now pretty good as well. So,
yeah, because
so you'll be seeing them a lot.
The 2+ save, they cannot be like Ren doesn't do stuff. They have a 1+ save, and Ren actually makes no difference until you have done 2-3 wounds.
Yeah,
and then
it's really annoying,
real bad. But
so you'll probably be seeing a lot of them. And aside from the stuff they do in the game, and I mean, who doesn't want to paint like a bunch of dinosaurs? That's super cool, right?
True. So I was thinking, what I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna spray coat it with the contrast spray coat, like Wraith Stuffy, Wraith Bone.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter, and then paint it like with some yellow-orange colors. Like, do you know those pythons? Like the special python that's already in videos. Where it's very white with so this is going to be like the albino python.
Yeah, by the way, you have the tendency to scooch over every time. You have to stay in the middle. Stay in your lane.
Stay in my lane.
Yeah.
Okay, so, that's the painting competition.
Yep.
And after that, I can talk numbers.
We can talk numbers, yeah. So final thing about painting. So that's for our Patreons, right?
Yeah, that's for our Patreons.
So and what can they actually win if they win the painting competition?
Could you give me the billboard?
This billboard?
Yeah. So everyone that wins a painting competition with us will actually be has eternal bragging rights. And it's going to be on one of these billboards, and this is going to be on the final table, like on the top table.
Oh, really? Like a picture of their model?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
And then a little bit Photoshop to make it like not the model, but make it a little bit more gory or stuff or whatever.
You know what we actually should do? Is every event, just pitching an idea. Every event, we'll see the pairings and on what table they'll play, right?
Yeah.
We could put it down on the first table they play.
Yeah. Yeah. Same as the patrons. Actually, like we have a patron tier, the Legends of the Alliance, It's the highest tier we have,
Mm.
and those players actually will always play
God tier.
turn 1 or round 1.
Yeah.
Always play on their own table.
There you go.
Because they can choose what colors they want on the table, so they will always play round 1 on their own table.
Okay, that sounds very awesome.
Yeah, so that sounds like a cool, neat little extra, right?
It does indeed.
Yeah. So, scooching over to two events actually.
Event numbers.
Yeah, it's event numbers. As some of you may know, September will be the first event, and even with the talk yesterday from our government, we can still go on.
Yeah, so we had a talk from our Prime Minister.
Yeah, so and he said, let's go. AO, let's go.
He said that personally.
Yeah, he said
He's coming too, I think.
He said it to me personally.
Yeah.
So, the September event is going to be 3 events.
Yeah.
The 40k event already sold out, 64 tickets.
Hmm.
And we have about 4 or 5 people on the reserve list. So, if you still think I want to come to your event,
Yeah.
don't hesitate to go to www.alliancearmy.net and fill in the reserve form. We will get an email, we'll put you on the reserve list and make sure that if you have if your place is like ready, then we can actually can give you a ticket.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good.
that's sold out. Then the ninth age actually has 14 tickets left, so already 50 tickets sold. So we're at around 75%. Then we have the Alliance, like the Alliance Open AOS Grand Tournament, which has 28 tickets left. So that September event is going quite okay.
Very good.
And then the Hanseatic Open sold out.
That's cool.
I'm looking at the time and I'm like, okay.
That's a German friend, right?
Yeah. So the Hanseatic Open is in Bremen. 120 tickets sold out already. We have about 15 to 20 people on the reserve list.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that you won't get any tickets if you like.
If you put yourself on the reserve.
Yeah, but if you still think I live in Bremen, let's try. Oh, sure.
Might as well. Yeah.
Might as well. And then of course our flagship, the Alliance Open Grand Tour, the Alliance Open Grand Tournament Super Major event is actually, we can actually call it an official Super Major from this day forward.
Really?
So we are above 209 players.
Yeah.
Meaning that you have like the official Super Major title.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So we have 39 tickets left.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's time for people to start thinking, okay, do I want to go to the event? Because there is
time is running out, my friends.
Yeah. So and we are actually working on a special package for everyone who wants to come. We're gonna use coins for drinks and eating and stuff, and we're gonna provide you with a discount for those, like a pre-order on those, and with a little extra.
Little something something. Little something for the keep people on the down low.
Yeah, and we're gonna and I can tell you it's gonna be big. It's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be like, do you know the high roller package for LVO?
For Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little.
It's gonna be better. You heard it here first.
Now you're putting the pressure on.
Yeah, it's putting pressure on. Yeah. Sometimes we need to put a little pressure on the camera.
So
it's gonna be cool though. Yeah. I've seen it. So.
Yeah. We'll actually go to a little commercial break because we're already 2 minutes over time, and then after that we will talk pre-orders.
All right.
No game without terrain.
And here we are.
Yeah, we're back.
We're here.
Okay.
So here it is, the big reveal, guys.
Yeah.
In full screen, in full glory.
In full glory.
Yep.
This is actually number 1. We're going to talk accessories first.
Okay.
First, accessorize.
Accessorize yourself.
Accessorize yourself.
Before you wreck yourself.
But let's check yourself. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Okay. So the first thing that you see is the lovely little L's. These are table resizers, we call them.
Yes.
And as Stefan already knows, as everyone knows, most of you have a mat that is the size of 6 by 4 feet.
Yep.
The official table size of 40k in 8th edition, and they chose to go like the minimum size is going to be smaller. Most big tournaments will probably go to those minimum sizes, same as we do, and that's why we made these small little things They're very
Yeah,
easy.
they're markers.
Yeah.
They're made of foam.
Yeah, you played with them already?
Yeah, so they stick very well on the actual mat.
Yeah, so they're neoprene, so like a little rubberish stuff.
Yeah, and so it's very easy to just get a good idea of where the new measurements are.
Yeah.
For those people that don't want to cut up their mats,
Yeah.
which I can completely understand.
So could you go to the next picture? Then you can
Yes, I
actually
can.
see what's gonna
Yep,
what's gonna
we're
happen.
we're over at the new one.
So what you see is you put this on the corner of your table. You do that on every corner, and then the table size fits perfectly on the new. So it's the longer side is 9 inches, so you can actually use them to do your deep strike as well. Then the smaller side, like the small long size, is 6 inches, and you do that on both sides, and then you have like the feet that you lost in the new table size.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah,
So-
and then you have 2 small parts of 2 inches for the longer sides.
yeah.
And if like some people say, okay, if I want to deploy, you can actually just take them and put them back in the corner every time,
Oh yeah.
because it's very easy. You don't have to measure anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, 100% of the time it works every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen a lot of like ways to do this, and we think this is the as a product, this is the cheapest one there is. It's
There you go.
€7.5.
That's a good price for just, you know. I mean, it's a good price.
Yeah.
What else is there to
there's
say?
Nothing more to say.
No.
So what you see on the picture is actually there. This was the prototype, and we actually added an inch to the small side on the to make
Okay.
sure that it works fine.
And then we've got deployment markers.
Yeah. So these we've had them for a couple of we have almost had them for a half a year, but we didn't put them on the site yet. And actually, I don't know why. But these actually are 6 inches.
Yep.
And you can actually mark your deployment zone instead of using dice.
Yeah.
And they with 6 inches you usually can do some stuff like movement, deep striking, or whatever. And they are actually they're
I mean, they're very
perfect
handy.
markers,
Yeah, they're very handy.
Yeah. So
Then we've got the inch meter,
yeah. Oh yeah, that's you're already at the next one. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
very
because
yeah.
I'm a bit ahead of you. So
Yeah, you're a bit ahead of
Yeah.
me. So the inch meter is like we have enough of those. So and we know that the GW inch meters sometimes get destroyed somehow.
Yep.
So at tournaments we'll always have these.
Yeah.
And if you want to like, okay, I'm gonna buy some stuff, some new terrain, and I just need one more, just add them in there.
Yeah.
There are I don't know, €4 or €5. I
yeah,
just forgot
a few
that
bucks.
they're a
I mean,
few
they're
bucks.
quite actually. I have one as well. I really like. We had previous ones, and I actually like this one a lot better because it's a little bit more sturdy. It also has a nice. It looks nice. It's very sturdy looking as well. It's a little bit industrial look.
Yeah.
And it's just an overall very
They're
cool
just
one.
a little bit smaller than the GW ones.
Yep.
But they have three, like the same amount of meters
Yeah.
or inches, or
And,
you can always use them in your home deep.
Yeah.
Like,
And so here it is. Yeah,
oh yeah,
we're already at the big reveal.
the big reveal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you see here is our eCronian table. And this is a full table. We actually, CJ did a very good job thinking out all the placement of objective
Yeah,
markers.
shout out to CJ. He's been designing his ass off
Yeah.
lately.
So they're going automatically right now. As
No,
well?
they don't. I just
Okay.
pressed whenever I think we're ready to go next.
Yeah, okay, of course. You're a good host.
I'm a good host.
Yeah. So what you see on the left upper corner are the forests.
Yeah.
Then you have the closed ruins on the right, upper right.
Yeah.
You have the the destroyed eCronian ruins are on the left, up, down left. I don't know what's the bottom left.
Bottom left, yeah. That's
And
what
then
we
on the
usually
bottom
say.
right you have the monoliths or the obelisks.
looks good.
We call them monoliths.
Yeah, the monoliths we already had, right? So we added in the other 3 pieces.
Yeah.
But now it's a nice cohesive, very thematic.
Yeah, so it's a
whole.
little redesign on the monoliths. They're actually a little bit smaller, but they're easier to build.
Oh, are they? Okay.
They're easier to build because they were harder than we thought at first time.
I really like the. I know there was. I think it was actually your idea. I really like the. How would you say it? The. It's not symmetrical, so it's asymmetrical design on the lines, the engraved lines on the
Yeah.
things. Because if you actually look at Necron stuff, a lot of it is also very asymmetrical, which
Yep.
is very cool. Because I think that really adds to the whole alien
Yeah.
theme of it.
Yeah, indeed.
So
So we're gonna talk about these new like the newly designed products
Yeah.
in a bit. So
here's an inch meter with with a part of the inch meter part itself. I don't know what that about.
I don't know why it's like in between. I think there's something something
Yeah,
going a little bit wrong
something. It's
because the eCronian were at the end, right? It
yeah.
should be at the end. Something is wrong here with doesn't matter.
It's not going any further. So hold on, guys.
Hold on, there's something really weird going on.
You talk
Now
about
it's
the
going really fast.
you talk about the eCronian stuff.
Yeah. The eCronian stuff actually, I think is why it's different than other eCronian stuff is because it's built for tournament play. So all the designs we make are thought of while thinking, okay, what does the game need, and how can we make it look cool? And what you actually have, like the forests you see are. The most important thing that you have to remember about the forests is that they are 5-inch high, so you could use them as obscuring as well. But the forest rule actually is a big change in the 9th edition at the moment, meaning you have dense cover. So behind it you have -1 to hit if you don't use the obscure rule, but you still have -1 to hit. I think forests are going to be the big change in the 9th edition terrain rules together with the obscuring rule. And the obelisk, what you actually can do, like if you use the obelisk as an obstacle, you'll still have cover when you're within 3 inches of those as infantry. And as we know, vehicles, monsters, and stuff don't actually get any cover bonus anymore. So that's huge. Those eCronian ruins that you saw, they can actually be put together as same as our ruins do. So when you look at the full set, it's gonna be 12.
Yeah, just keep.
It's gonna be 12 pieces of terrain, right? So 12 pieces of terrain, ideal for the new tables. And CJ or on the website, there's actually a table layout, and the table layout actually thinks about 7 of the 9 new missions. None of the objectives will be on terrain itself. So that's just huge. Just simply thinking about it. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's a pretty comprehensive table. It also blocks a decent amount of sight, which you always want from a good table, right?
Yep.
So how would this interact with the new rules? Can you talk a little bit about that, maybe?
Yeah. So if you simply look at the ruin that's in the middle with the hole in it, when you stand behind or not in the area terrain, and someone sees you through the ruin, you will actually not be visible if you're infantry, beasts, or something else. But when you get into the terrain, you actually get within line of sight. So those obscuring rules are huge, because you can say, okay, I'm not going to stand in terrain, you will not see me, but you won't get any cover saves as well. Or you could say, okay, I'm going to be in the ruins, now I can see you through then it's true line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can shoot you, and you can shoot me as well.
Okay.
So those are like the obscured rules is very tricky to play with. I played with it yesterday with the ruins.
Yeah.
And it's very learnsome to get there.
Okay.
So
we're almost ready to move on.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So what we see right now, like a little wonky, what you just saw there, were the industrial forests. I have no idea why. Yeah. So we're back.
We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So something we actually took about 2 hours to
set this all up.
To set this all up, and then somehow
that's the life of a live stream. Where something always comes up, but we fixed it.
Going live is risky.
Yeah.
So what you see here are the industrial forests.
There you go.
And when you look at it, Stefan, what do you think?
I think it looks very cool. I mean, it's a very cool alternative to just having trees in a forest. So, I mean, it's obviously industrial because it's like unfinished buildings or possibly damaged buildings.
Or unfinished,
no, destroyed.
Yeah.
So visually, it's very cool. You can hide behind the stuff, right? You've got some pillars where you can hide some infantry models, but of course, it's basically meant to be a forest with forest rules.
Yep.
But I mean, it's a very cool alternative to just having trees, because not every planet has trees, stuff like
and
that.
especially if you're in an industrial ruin area, right? I mean.
I think this is a very cool thematic industrial alternative to just trees.
Yeah, indeed. So that's why we chose for this design, and it actually is more than 5-inch high, meaning that you'll get like the obscuring. You can use the obscuring rule.
Okay.
But if you don't want to use it, then you just play it as dense terrain, like it's a forest.
Well, there you go.
So
Here's the next one with a model on it.
Yeah, with a model on it, just for skills.
It's just for skills.
Just for skills.
Yeah.
So it's about 25 centimeters to 10 in. So 10 by 5 inches or something.
It's one of CJ's dirty little Eldar.
Yeah.
We need to put some proper models. Let's just some orcs.
Put them in the cage.
Yeah,
like
in the little cage thing.
Yeah, why isn't it in this cage?
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, next one is the so here's where they're taking off the base.
Yeah, so those bases are actually 70 millimeters. But the thing is that usually when you make forests, storage of those things are really hard because they're all like, okay, you have like a template, and then it's going to be very huge, and this way you can just put them next to each other.
Yeah.
You can like
you can easily
stack
put
them
some
or
models
whatever.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, so this way it's less spacious.
Yeah. You can, and it's easier to store, I think, as well.
And you can interchange them. So
Yeah.
if you make the same base on every of your forests, you can actually say, okay, now I want to play on the Eldar or I want to play on the Friend.
Okay, so every one of those, because we've got more forest like themes, right?
Yeah.
And every one of them just fit. Yeah, so you could interchange. That's actually very cool. So next one are the buildings that we have with the corner buildings.
Yeah, the corner buildings. These are actually redesigned to be open, or so you can actually push out the windows.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either play them closed,
Yeah.
or you can push them out and say, okay, they're open.
Yep.
And that way you can actually make the most use of all the rules that 40k at this moment has to offer.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah, so keeping them all closed, it's like, okay, I can't see you even when I'm inside terrain.
Uh-huh.
And if you open them, it's going to be like the same thing I said with the eCronian terrain, or the eCronian terrain.
Mhm.
Like, okay, when you're behind it, I cannot see you, and the moment you step into that area terrain, I can actually see you.
Okay, so you can actually push out the windows that you want to push out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's called. It's a little bit of customization as well.
So for you guys, we did a little test run, and it simply says this. So this is the it's actually quite sturdy to push them out. So you can. Yeah, there's like, okay, if you want to put them back in, it's not even that hard. You just put a little glue on the sides,
and they'll stay.
It has a perfect fit, and then it goes back in.
Okay.
So that's
Cool.
perfect for us.
So this is the inside of the buildings, guys. So actually, these are also the ones that like neatly fit in each other, right?
Yeah.
So for storage sake, that's actually very space economic.
Most of you watching, I think, already seen these, but
yeah.
I mean, do I have them behind me?
And we have the awesome Telcel commercial where CJ sells this like a boss.
Yeah, like only CJ can.
Like only CJ can. There you go. So next up, so here they are actually inside each other. So you can see, you can put them in, and they'll only have like the space of one building because they're all inside each other.
Yeah, indeed. And they have like the highest building is 9 inches.
Yeah.
I think, and the smallest is about 3.5, 4 inches.
Yeah.
And then when you have one closed set, one open set, and then like this is the alpha set we have. So this is the first set that I can say, okay, we have multiple different factory sets.
Yeah.
That all fit together.
All right.
And some of you already have these sets at home.
Yep.
But you can combine them now, and every layout has its own, like every set has its own layout, but you can always mix and match them. But if you have Sprylos, put them in there, no problem. We have a map layout for you, also where all the objectives are not in terrain, because that's a rule from 40k, you cannot have objectives in terrain.
Yeah.
And CJ actually, I think he did about 4 or 5 hours just, okay, now I want to put this over here. Can I still put this over here? Oh, I have no idea. Okay, let's try. Okay, so I put this over here. Is the objective in the train? No. Okay, so he can fit there. So he actually did all that in. So here's a little diagram of how you could possibly set up your table, right? Or these are our setups for the tournaments. Yeah. That you see here. So as you can see, it's a lot of it's a good spread of terrain. Yeah. Right. Not a lot of fire lanes. No. Fire lanes. But not too few as well. Not too few as well. Yeah, exactly. So and those vents that you see, you can always use them as area terrain. We use them as area terrain, right? So those are actually quite impactful now in the game because they impair a -2 to move, right? Yeah, to all your moves. All your moves. So not just the normal, so also your normal moves. Yeah. And that's big. So actually, those have become very important in this edition. Yeah, and we've seen at the ITC event we did last year, we put some smoke on it. You can actually still do that and make sure that it's above 3 inches, so it can still be dense.
Yeah.
Then you can combine it with more rules, and that way you can like. There's so much you can do with small things as that.
So here's actually the set, but with the instead of the craters, it's the industrial trees.
Yeah, and then we did we did 2 billboards less because the trees have a bigger footprint than those fans have.
Okay.
So this way you have like a little more light table.
Yeah.
But still has a big impact.
Yeah, and you still have the area terrain.
So
yeah, all right, moving on to the next. Oh, so here are the industrial trees again, guys. So we had these. We'll just quickly skip over them.
Yeah. So you actually have a lot of people in chat. So could you pause them? Is there a way to pause? Because they are like a dia. So sometimes they just skip to the next picture.
No, that's me going around. I think I also found the issue here.
Yeah, you also found it.
Because there's a max number of pictures you can put in a map.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to create a new one again.
So
but why don't we take some chat?
Yeah, so we're just gonna. I see that Dennis is also in chat. We have Goran in the chat. We have actually quite a few patrons in the chat. So that's always good to see. Yeah. I really need to hydrate here. It's what do you think? It's about 30 degrees.
It's getting quite warm in here. Yeah. Can I just?
With the excitement, yeah, we just cannot hide it. We cannot hide it. So, I don't know why I did that.
So it's.
We have same again. I cannot the live the users in chat is actually not live because I can see myself. I can see a few other people. So I have no idea why that is.
Me neither.
So later on we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk with Dennie in a pre-recorded video. We'll just do these pre-orders like a little longer, and then after that, I think that takes about 50 minutes. So I had a way too long talk with Dennie as usual.
Okay.
I've seen your order as well, Dennis. Very good to see that you've made your order. Very happy.
Let's see if we can get to the next.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to the next one.
So we have
you
this.
Don't forget to hydrate as well.
I'll drink some stuff. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, flip mode.
Oh, boy. Sometimes you learn new stuff about this program.
OBS somehow is like it seems very easy.
Yeah. Okay. So we got that's what they said. That's a table. So these are the table overviews with the Sprylos that we already have, but then you can see that the industrial terrain trees have been added here.
Yeah. So there are 3 different layouts to make, and as you can see, there's actually triple Sprylos in here as well. So this funny thing is with this layout, it's like okay, well, it seems rather open, but with those Sprylos, you have a lot of line of sight blockers. And together with those forests, there's a lot of imposing of charging. So there's a big chance that this is still very much big enough for anyone to play around.
Yep.
So don't be scared that it's too open, and still like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces of terrain, which is like I don't know, I think it's the best amount of terrain. You could go to 14 with maybe another crater in the middle or something, like in the 2 middle parts.
Oh yeah.
And then it's really finished.
So here's another one with a slightly different setup. No, it's the same setup. So here's the entire set with the Sprylos. That's a set we already have, right?
Yeah. And here you have one with the center. There's when there's in the center. So this is 2 small Sprylo sets. As some of you may already have. And then you have billboards and craters. So this is actually a very different one because you lose the forest in this one. And I think that we have Dennie actually gave them very cool names. So it's like Sprylo Alpha. So we have a factory zone Alpha. We have a factory zone Beta. We have a factory zone Omega. Then we have a Frontline Ruins Alpha, a Frontline Ruins Beta, a Frontline Ruins Gamma and Omega. So just to give you an idea why we did that, we wanted to make sure that for anyone there's like something in their price range, right? Because we know that like the Frontline Ruins Omega full table is 150 euros, which is quite a lot. But you can make multiple different tables with them. It's one full table, but you could like, okay, I'm gonna buy a smaller set as well, and then I'm gonna combine them, which is no problem at all.
I see.
For those of you watching, keep in mind that if you order over 100 euros, you get a free t-shirt from us as well. We'll contact you, ask you what size you want, and then you're gonna get the t-shirt. So,
Well, there you go.
yeah, we're gonna give away free stuff. Everyone likes free stuff, right?
So here are the Necronian pillars that we have.
The monoliths, right?
Yeah, the monoliths. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
As you can see, they're actually quite big. Maybe you have like the feeling that they don't look, but they're actually quite
They
impactful
disappeared a
in the
bit.
game.
So here they are.
And
Ta-da! The monoliths.
the monoliths are back.
The monoliths are back, baby.
And these actually, I think, have the more impact in the game than you might think. And they just look awesome. We've had them painted with real, like with concrete style. We have them painted with classic Necronian style, and it always seems like the perfect way to play the game. So
And here are the corner buildings, the Necronian corner buildings.
yeah, so as you can see, these are actually, they have quite a few panels on them. These are the ruined ones, and what you can see, we did a little something different. That at the outside, the ruined parts are, it seems like rubble on the outside. So if you put a little some bits over there, Necronian bits, it looks very awesome. And those panels actually, it may look hard to build, but they're actually quite, how do you say, like quite natural to put on.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, if you have one in your hand, it's like, okay, this one should be over here, this one should be over here. And of course, CJ will, or we will help you if you have any problems building them. We will gladly help you, saying, okay, this should be there, this should be over
Yep. So here are here's the inside of one of the buildings. Or actually, that's all the buildings.
there. Yeah, these are stackable.
Stackable as well.
So what you do,
Yeah.
what you actually do is you can keep the area train. You keep it loose, and then when you keep it loose, you shove.
Keep it loosey goosey.
Loosey goosey, and then you put them inside of each other, and then put the bases on there, and then you can actually do the same thing that you're used to with our ruin tables. You can actually make it like really, really, really small.
All right.
So I think this set is actually the ruins in itself are smaller than the other ruins.
Okay, so they're a bit smaller.
Yeah, but if you combine the full table, it's.
I mean, it's also like quite some detail in there because there's multiple layers of to get to the damaged parts. There's like multiple layers, and then we have got like the.
Yeah, so there's actually quite a few details and layered stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
So I think this, in my opinion, this is an upgrade to the ruin set, like the factory ruin set.
Okay.
This is so cool that it, and with the little corners, it actually has a little different play than it does with the ruins. It has an extra 2 corners.
Okay.
As you can see, because it's not like an L, it's like an L with 2 little pieces at the end. So you can actually hide an infantry model a bit easier.
All right.
So yeah, so we're very happy with the outcome of all this terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have a little more to show you guys. A little more Aelven stuff, right? The Aelven Forest.
Yeah, we can go to the Aelven Forest.
Yeah,
so I'll get those.
Yeah, because the Necronian we talk. So you can get these 2 in different types. Like you can get the ruined ones and the closed ones. And if you're like, okay, I want to have 2 ruined ones instead of 2 closed ones, please. Usually there's a different one in the set. You can actually contact us. That's no problem.
Okay. Let me get out the Eldar ones, which are also new, right?
Yeah. So there's another one in our forest range. Is the Eldar ones, and those are the classic Wravebone things coming out of the ground, and I think they're the easiest to build. Yeah, they're maybe even easier than our billboards. I mean, if you cannot build these, then then you haven't done Lego when you were.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Or Knex or whatever.
Okay.
So,
just a second as I get them up, because now, for some reason, the files have been removed. Wow.
wow.
So,
So weird.
you know what? I'm going to put on a little promo
Yeah,
for the meanwhile.
Yeah,
and
we're going to do a little promo. Then we finish off the gallery, and then we're going to go to...
exactly. So, guys, we'll be right back. We'll do the Frontline Ruins set promo. There you go.
Are you as tired as me of needing this much space to store your wargaming terrain? Well, not anymore. Because we bring you Ruins in a Box. This is a full 40k Warhammer table in a 9x9x9 box. Stores everything everywhere. What's your excuse? Is the stairs your number one enemy at home? Ah! Are you sick and tired of not even being able to bring your wargaming terrain to your friend's house? Is your wife about to leave you because you can't fit any more terrain in your house? Are your friends sick and tired of bumping into you everywhere you walk? Have you been struggling with trying to keep your workspace clean? Struggling to keep your gaming terrain in order? Well, this is the solution for you. This is a full 40k table ready for use at any time, and you can hide it anywhere, even from the wife. Your girlfriend will never be angry again when you put your wargaming terrain into the smallest box in the house. You will glide through the hallways. The stairs will be your number one new friend. The one solution to fix all your problems. Alliance Armory, billboards, amazing area terrain. Then of course you get our patent pending, amazing 8-piece, no 4, no 8-piece ruin set, ladies and gentlemen. Is it allowed to be this cheap? Oh hell no. Why haven't you bought this yet? It's amazing! Call now to 0900 123 45 7 8 9 10. Why? Because it's fucking 11 on the Richter scale, baby. Get yours now. If you haven't gotten one yet, you can order it now on our website, alliancearmory.net. You can get one for the price of one, two for the price of two. It's amazing!
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
with the final big reveal. Eldar Ruins and Forests.
Eldar Forest, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Ruined Forest. Let's call them Ruined Forest.
There you go.
So these are the bone raves coming out of the ground. Same with the 17mm base. You can actually, if you want just the template for the base, you can actually just contact us and you can get those as well. But these Eldar, same as always, they have more than 5-inch height, so you can play them as obscuring.
Mm-hmm.
They're very easy to build. You have built these in, I think I did these one in 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, easy peasy.
Japanese. Can we say that? Can we still say that?
Lemon squeezy.
Lemon squeezy, I guess, would be
squeezy.
better.
Yeah. So these are a very good addition to the Eldari or the is it Eldari? The Aelven architecture set we already had.
Yep.
So we added these. So I think we have 4 of these, and then we have the Aelven walkways or the Aelven barricades coming in very soon. So
There you go.
CJ already did all the drawings. We just have to do the prototype, and those are used as barricades.
Here's one with a model.
Yeah, there's one with a model on it.
Show a little size scale again.
Yeah, it's back home. No, it's not his home. It's like his.
And as we've talked before, here are the ones removed from their base, so you can actually, like you've said, if you want to make all the bases one theme, like you want to make them all snowy, but you want different kind of
Themes possible, yeah.
themes possible, you could swap them out, which is actually quite useful as well. Here's the entire set with the trees and the barricades. The barricades are still in designer stage, right?
Yeah, but they'll be finished next week. So if you order them now, they'll be there when you need to. Yeah, like when the pre-order leaves the house. Right?
Yeah. CJ says pre-production.
Yeah. So in the set actually now is 2 big gates, 2 small gates, 2 forests, 2 barricades, 2 altars, and 2 watchtowers.
I mean, I don't have much love for Eldar, right?
Yeah.
But I think aesthetically, this is one of my favorite sets.
That we have.
I think this looks really cool.
Yeah, and in 8th edition, I think this was a bad setup actually. in 8th edition.
Yeah.
But right now, these have a huge impact on the game.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
All right, here's the layout of the terrain you could do with it on the table. So again, as with the industrial set, you can see it's like a good coverage. You've got different types of terrain. We've got the runes, we've got the obscuring, we've got the area terrain, we've got like fields of fire, but also like decent coverage that you can hide some stuff if you want to.
Yep.
It looks like a good table to play on.
Yeah. So CJ already talked to Akris about our table layouts. We actually have 9 table layouts right now. So we can do 9 different layouts at our event, and then you still know that they're standardized. We're gonna test them all because some of them has been tested already, but not all of them. So there might be like we have 9 different layouts, but we only play 5 in the top tables.
Because they're the best for the tournament
the best
play.
4 or 5 for tournament play, but it's still possible that you can meet them at the upper, like the lower tables.
Alright,
lower tables are gonna be not as standardized as these are.
There's actually one from the Necron set.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what a Necron set looks like.
This is the new Necron table, and as you can see, those big monoliths. They are in the middle. They're like, okay, that doesn't do stuff, but it does, because when you're behind there with infantry, you still get cover.
Yes.
So
they definitely have effect on the game as well.
Yeah.
So here are the barricades that CJ is designing that are in pre-production.
Yeah. So these are built for tournament play. So all models can look over it, except maybe Gretchen, but yeah, they can hide about behind a rock at any time.
I mean, Gretchen won't hide anyway.
Yeah. And as always, these are more than 5 inch high or more than 3, so you can play them as dense. I think.
Yeah. So the middle column is probably like more than 5 inches high.
No, it's more than 3.
More than 3.
So you can play them as dense.
Yeah.
And then you have like -1 hit.
There you go.
So
here's the side view of it.
Yeah.
And the top view as well. It's like a cool little Eldar barricade. Like on the sides, you can see like the in between pillar things that connect them all together.
Yeah, and these are classical, right? I mean.
Yeah, and that's back to the forest, but we've shown the people everything now. I think.
So we have. So to sum it up, we have 9 different table layouts.
Yeah, should we go back to our cool screen? Let's do that.
Yeah, we should just go to our home screen or.
Go back to our home screen. Here we are back.
Back?
Yeah, we're back.
So the good thing about the new table layout is that you know what you buy, so you don't have to do it yourself.
Yes.
And the additions to these things are like perfect for maybe a club or if you say, okay, I know a guy.
Might we even say in the club with your homies? Get a little VI.
West Side. So, if you have like a club, you're with a club and you have like more than a little like $100 to spend on terrain, you know that you just buy a full table of terrain.
Yeah.
And that's it.
What's actually a full table of terrain? How much? You know?
So the cheapest one is €98, and that's going to be 2 ruin sets. There's going to be forests, vents, and.
CJ says $98.99. $98.99.
Yeah, so that's the cheapest one. And then we have multiple sets going for 105.
Yeah, and that's the big sets, right?
Yeah, those are a little bit bigger, and the 105 are actually the Frontline Ruins beta table, and I think that's the only one for 105.
So actually, it's for example the entire Eldar set that we've shown.
The
so
entire
let me
Aelven architecture. The entire one is.
So this one here, I've put it back up on the screen. This one would be like $154.99. CJ says. If I'm correct, I don't know. CJ will probably correct me if I'm not.
I think that actually is cheaper.
So CJ says 100. Let's say 120, but it's $119.99.
Yeah. So it's 120.
For both the. Yeah.
So for 12 pieces of terrain, if you come thinking it's €10 for each piece of terrain, I dare you to do that for G-dubs.
You dare me, huh?
Yeah. I think you can get maybe an Aegis defense line, and that's it for €10. I
think this is a very reasonable price for all the cool terrain you get, because it's very cool terrain.
Yeah. So there's a lot of there's a lot of different sets. And that's what make this for me. It makes this a very exciting release party because we can give you guys so much.
Yeah.
We can give you anything you want. You want to go premium? Okay, I can give you everything you want.
You never had a friend like us.
Yeah. you know it. So we have the forest table. We're gonna expand in the future. I'm thinking about designing my own.
Oh,
I'm gonna learn
Mr. Designer over here.
Mr. Designer.
Yeah.
A little bit of myself. I actually asked a guy to 3D print some.
Okay.
Those will probably be for sale as well, but they're probably going to be limited because it's harder to get them.
Yeah.
But just to give you a little scoot, it's going to be Tyranids. I don't even play Tyranids, but I like them.
You actually showed me something, right?
I showed you some.
Yeah.
I can actually. I can put them in the Patreon. So if you're part of the Patreon,
oh, that's very cool. So if you're part of Patreon, you can get a little preview of what's coming up next.
Get a little something.
A little bit of Meyer's designs.
Yeah, it's not my design.
It's not your design.
No, it's not my design.
Oh.
I stole it.
Okay.
But I asked him if I could steal it.
Is it going to be 3D printed, or is it going to be like the bird?
Oh,
right.
So that's very awesome.
That's
so we're gonna try. We have a test print, and then we'll go see if it's paintable, and then we're gonna go.
Very cool.
So
I'm actually quite excited because you don't see a lot of Tyranid terrain.
So I think it's time for our break now, and our break is going to be looking at a video from Dennie and me.
Yeah. So we recorded it, or rather, you and Dennie recorded it.
Yeah.
Because as you know, time is kind of flipped, pretty much for us in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. Sadly, it wasn't really doable to
do it live.
Do it live.
No.
But we've got D from HK here.
Yeah.
And you'll be talking about some key points. So you'll be talking about some COVID rules.
Yeah, we're gonna just talk about how he is.
Yeah.
In Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is way different than
we got to know how the D's doing.
Yeah, we got to know.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go for we're gonna talk a little bit about COVID-19, and we're gonna talk about our new product.
Okay.
I mean.
So without further ado, I'll switch it over.
Hello, Dennie. How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good afternoon for you.
Yeah.
Good day for me, I guess. It's 3 o'clock over here. And
yes,
it's
like 9:20 in the evening, so good evening here. Yeah.
So Dennie is in from Hong Kong as usual. So how are things in Hong Kong at the moment?
Currently, we're enjoying a Type 3 typhoon. So it's been raining for about, I think, 1.5 weeks, like heavy rain, like pouring rain, and then it's still around 30 degrees, and that's going to last for another week, I believe. So you have that once. Yeah, well, good. This is, I think, the second or third time we had that here. So this is really the wet season still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're hanging in there. We really how do you say, we purchased some dehumidifiers at the beginning when we moved here, just because the humidity is so high. It's like 80 or 90% usually. So even your clothes don't really dry outside.
Nope.
So yeah, we are keeping the insides cool and dry, and then the outside is very hot and humid.
So you actually don't have a lot of moments that you go out at the moment, right?
No, especially of course because of the current situation in the world. If we could go outside right now with if there was no COVID, for sure we would have enjoyed that much more.
Mm-hmm.
But as we all know, that hit us, of course, the early this year, and kind of all the other plans we had kind of fell through.
So I'm looking at you, and I noticed. I mean, I am intentionally grew my hair out. You have you have not seen a barber in about 7 months or something.
No, correct. So also people ask me if my shaver's broken, but that's not the case. But that's actually my wife really likes that. So I figured if there's any chance, I might as well do that now. But yeah, since we moved in January, we arrived here on January 7th. I just had my hair cut back in the Netherlands actually before we went, because I figured maybe it might take some time to find a good barber who can actually cut Western hair, because to be honest, we had that the other way around when we were in the Netherlands. That my wife, of course, is Chinese. She noticed that Dutch barbers have a harder time cutting more like the Asian type of hair.
Yeah,
and I think it's the other
way around. Is exactly the same. Yeah,
exactly. But then, of course, since we arrived, 20 days after we arrived, COVID went well, at least regional, but after that went global. So then things closed down, and I haven't been to a barber since. So currently, I'm going for the samurai look. If I put everything in a bunch, then I can kind of work that.
So then, when you will come back to Holland, whenever that may be, we can do it together. We'd be samurai bros.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. We could I'll just bring 2 of the Japanese kimonos, and we can.
Yeah, sounds like
we can rock it down. Exactly.
So, is there a chance you will be coming to Holland in the upcoming months, or is there like
Yes.
news on that front?
Yeah, so the original plan, of course, there were quite some plans for this year,
Mm-hmm.
both for us, also for people visiting. I remember you yourself had plans, of course, to visit Hong Kong in June, I believe.
Yep.
And originally, I was planning to go back to the Netherlands in March already, because I actually I would have a course of my study because I'm doing a master's degree in supply chain. I would have a course in the UK, but because of COVID, that couldn't happen. Like the flights were cancelled and we were not allowed to travel anymore. So then, of course, we had other people planning to visit over summer, but that all fell through. So now the current plan is that me and my wife will be back in the Netherlands in November.
Okay.
If everything goes well, and
Yeah,
that, of course,
let's just keep our fingers crossed
exactly.
for the
Knock
upcoming
on wood,
years.
but that coincides, of course, with our Alliance Open event at the end of the year.
Yeah. So the super
It would be good to
major,
see everybody.
still going strong, but everybody will know. You already heard the numbers. It's still going very well. Are you? I mean, do you personally get some hobby time in, because it's way different over there at the moment?
Yeah, I did the most of the hobby time I really get in is painting. So
Mhm.
I've got some of these guys actually sitting here on my work bench here, which I'm just like I'm kind of finally going through my Death Guard backlog, because I took two armies, or I should say three. I took three armies to Hong Kong, which is Chaos Knights, it's my Death Guard, and my Nurgle Demons.
Yep.
And the Death Guard I just had like airbrushed in some pre-shades, and the rest had to be done. So I knew like they're going in. If I take those guys, I definitely have enough to paint for a while. And of course, then because we're inside, actually, you can't really go out to play any games or anything, kind of scout the scene. So then I just started painting. So actually, people in the Patreon Discord can sometimes see me spamming some of the models I paint. So I try to paint one or two models, like from pre-shades to finish
in a week, right? Yeah.
So I just kind of like I very like steadily churn out one or two models a week. That's actually pretty nice.
And your submission for the painting competition. I mean, we usually submit a model in the painting competition, but we do not compete for the winner. But we simply just want to do it to ask like the guys what you think. I really liked your model. Shows that you have the time and you have the means to still get your A game on when it comes to painting. So it's too bad. It's too bad you cannot do that like in the community in Hong Kong yet, because I don't know.
I know.
Do you have any connections already, or?
I do have some connections locally. So there's a very big WhatsApp group, like the Hong Kong Warhammer WhatsApp group, and like Hong Kong has around like 7.5 to 8 million people living here, and it's quite a small place. So for the Dutch people in the chat, you could kind of compare it to, I would say, the Randstad. So it's like Rotterdam, The Hague, Utrecht ish, kind of like that's kind of the size we're talking. It's actually much smaller than I thought, and because taking a bus from one side to the other, like the city side is about like 20 minutes, even though if you look at the map, there's so much nature around the city, which really kind of hammers down the fact that everything's so concentrated. So you got 7.5 to 8 million people concentrated in something that, I don't know, will be equivalent to Rotterdam and The Hague together. And that's like almost 8 million people. Think about it.
And in Holland, that's about 2 million. I think not even. Not even.
Yeah. I think those cities have around like what is it? I think I could be way off here, but I think Rotterdam is around like what 300,000. No,
more.
700,000.
700.
I think Amsterdam is topping the million almost, or around that number, I believe. So if you multiply that times 8, it kind of gives you the feeling of how packed everything can be. But yeah, I mean, I've visited all three Games Workshop. Actually, now it's 2 because they had to close one. So they have 2 Games Workshops and a couple of like third-party, or how do you say, like friendly local gaming stores, which is very nice. But the space is quite packed. So what you see is that they can't really do any big tournaments because the space is just very expensive. So any store would have, I think the biggest one I've been to had like 6 tables maybe. Which is it's big for a store. Like it's even big for some Dutch standards of stores, I would say.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest one I've seen. But you'll see a lot of smaller stores where they run like half a table, or very different measurements, just depending on the tables they have. And you have very different boards to play on.
Yeah.
But I've yet to do that. So.
Okay, so that's something for the future, right? I mean, you never. Sure. I mean, you are in your 3rd lockdown now, right?
Yes, correct. So yeah,
So for you
the first
guys, we
one.
are not even in our second.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna go again for the third round.
Yeah,
And so it's,
woohoo! Let's go.
the first wave of COVID was well, like I said, January 27th, when they really started locking down the area here, and I think it was early February, the first week of February, when they closed the borders,
Mm-hmm.
because people were demanding it. They were really demanding, like, we should really try to keep this out as much as we can. And in the end, I think for months, that the total number of COVID patients or confirmed patients, and the absolute number was around 1,024 or something. And the deaths, of course, every single one's too many, but they had 4 or 5, I believe, in the first.
We do that in a week at the moment. So
yeah, sadly, yes, and they actually, Hong Kong did a really good job at the beginning. But what happened now? The second wave also was very little, so they actually kept that down really well, and they were very strict to clamp down, and they're very slow to release the restrictions. But they started doing that, I believe. Let's see, I think when I mentioned that to you guys was around early June.
yeah.
And then they started expanding the social gatherings from 2 to 4 to 8, like very slowly after a couple of weeks, and then it became 50. And then now the third wave came around a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and suddenly we got triple-digit growth. Like we had 100, 150, 160, 180 people per day, which we just hadn't seen before. Like I think for the first 4 months or something, it was
10 was a big day, right?
But 10 was already was a lot. And of course, everybody's very quick to wear masks because they, like, especially people in Hong Kong, still have the memory of SARS. I think that's 2002.
Yeah,
Still
SARS
fresh
and
in their
MERS are
mind.
like 2000. No, SARS was later, 2008 or something, but it was not that, like, it's not that long
Yeah.
ago. They have the memory in.
Exactly. So they really had that kind of automatic reaction to say, okay, everybody wears masks and everything. Because when we went to China for Chinese New Year to celebrate with my in-laws, most of the people were wearing masks, and we actually were not. We were, because we stayed inside, we self-quarantined because everything was happening, and then we went out. A bit naive, I guess, and then quickly we switched to masks and everything because everybody was already wearing that out of their own conviction, because they thought, they remember that, and they remember that it worked.
Yeah, the mask will be a thing that we'll talk about in about 5 to 10 minutes because it's gonna happen anyway. So, it actually is a very good, like you say, it's for us, it's not a normal reaction to say, okay, we got a pandemic going on, let's go mask, let's go do this, because we're not used to it, and we are cramped, but we're not that cramped as China, Hong Kong, and other Asian countries, right? So
especially Hong Kong, indeed, because if things go bad in such a packed city, it goes bad real fast.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you see now. The reason why we have a third wave, what they say, is that there were exemptions for people coming in, like pilots, like ocean tanker crews, like container ship crews, and these kind of people. They can go in with some kind of exception, or you take the test and you can go in, and please stay inside, and you can wait. You have to wait for your results, but in the end, they just went out.
Yeah.
And also, apparently, there were exemptions were made for like high-ranking executives in companies, like, oh, they don't have time for this.
Yeah, so just do the test, and then if you are positive, or if you'll hear it later on, and then
Exactly, because the chance will be low, and now the whole city is back into lockdown. So we went from 50 social gatherings of 50 back to 2. Restaurants closed for a week and a half, but then they kind of reopened because the economy just couldn't handle more of those hits. So they they reluctantly opened the restaurants again because they would all go belly up if they wouldn't. But yeah, you can see how a few exceptions like that could kind of ruin it if things go, especially in a densely packed place like this.
So
actually, the government actually issues state masks, which is pretty good. It's like cloth; you can just wash it.
Oh, that's good.
And actually, they provide everybody with one. They did that, I think, 1 or 2 months in. But they're very comfortable. They're soft. They're not like the elastics are not. They don't hurt your ears and everything. It's actually quite good. So yeah, they do a lot of things, but I think a little sign of weakness there might have pushed us back a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's hope that it will, like, third time's the charm, and we just nip it in the bud, right?
Really hope so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Exactly.
so since we're talking about COVID anyway, we wanted to talk to you about how things like this could, like, impact events, and not just our events, but in fact events in general. So what do you think about all the precautions and the rules that are currently going on, like you know the Dutch rules. Do you think that what's the big impact on events itself?
Well, of course, I've been following together with you guys, of course, the Dutch developments on handling the coronavirus, because it immensely impacts what we do as Alliance Open.
Yeah.
So we've been monitoring this week after week just to see what's going on and how exactly will things go, and we still do, because we know, of course, we're recording this a little earlier, so of course we still have an announcement from the government this Thursday. That's tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
Today's
tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. so
we were like,
so that's yeah. So that's so we, of course, we're a bit early because we're not live right now because of the time difference. But that news will be factored in whatever happens. So this is before we know that.
Yep.
And the Dutch government it seems like they have been taking a very healthy and kind of common sense approach with the society, I would say. When they say everybody you use your common sense, you know what you can and cannot do.
Yep.
Which is, you can interpret that many ways. There was a big discussion about the masks, if they help or not. I'm convinced that they do. Some other people or other governments, global nations have very different opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, looking at the data, because I'm trying to follow the data of the Dutch government website and the trackers and everything as well every day or other day,
Mm-hmm.
just to see how that goes. It seems up till now, knock on wood, everything's going quite okay. Of course, we do see a rise in cases.
Yeah, you have some local spikes.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems like maintaining the social distance has effect.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So the thing for events is really that you play a social game and you play relatively close to each other. The thing is, you're especially for Warhammer, you're playing on opposite sides of the table. And I think it's very, very clear that you have to really make sure that you split what's yours and what's the other players.
Yeah.
So because we know it is the virus can it can be contagious or spread through contact surfaces. So I would say make sure, like we said in the regulations, make sure you use your own dice, pick up your own models, do your own stuff, and try to you have to maintain that social distance. That's the key thing that the Dutch government is prescribing, and the key thing that should be maintained during an event, and not only by the organization, but by everybody themselves. Because you have your own responsibility. Because if you see a lot of talk online and the things that people blaming the government for, whatever they it should be fixed or it should be better.
Whatever, yeah.
Exactly, but look in the mirror and realize that you are this also a very big factor in this.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing that we want to tell our players, tell everybody who plays wargaming in general, is that even though you maybe not convinced about the danger of COVID, that does not mean that if you are not convinced, someone else cannot be afraid of it. I know people that are on this side of the spectrum, okay, I'm not afraid. I do whatever the hell I want, and I don't believe the government. And I've known people that are okay, I'm afraid. Please make sure that you do everything you can. And you have to respect those guys as well, even though you think they are maybe not the smartest person or whatever. If they think it could be a danger for themselves, you have to respect them as well. And that's the common sense approach as well. Have some respect for each other.
Exactly. And I think based on the community that we support, I think that already goes a long way. I think there's a lot of respect. This isn't the basic things between different gaming systems, but there's a lot of respect to each other. It's a very inclusive hobby, and it's everybody's welcome and everybody can play the models they want and do whatever. So I think there is a healthy amount of respect.
Yeah.
But you do see that this whole situation, this whole global pandemic, has kind of has some polarizing effects on some groups.
It definitely does.
And that's why we really, as Alliance Open, we also step in there and say these are the regulations. This is the law that we lay down for our events, because we all want to play our favorite games, and we all want to meet our friends again.
But we want to keep doing it. We want to keep doing that.
And we want to keep doing that for a while, right? So it's not like, we'll have one event and then we'll see whatever, we'll go back into lockdown.
Yeah.
No, the better we do this, the longer we can enjoy it, until the rest of science catches
in
up
the
with
long
us.
run, yeah.
They go back to a new / change kind of normal.
Yeah.
But until that time, we all need to make sure that we do this the safest way as possible and the most responsible way as possible.
Yeah, indeed. So, and what do you think that will be the hardest part of being that responsible for us as organizers and for players as like normal players?
That's a good question. I think, the responsibility is realizing what's going on, because I can fully imagine, because I have the same kind of feeling if I would go back to the Netherlands. Of course, when you see your loved ones and friends and family, it's hard to maintain distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have to realize that you have to be aware of the situation. It's very easy, I think, to lose that kind of feeling because it seems like you see everybody again. You've got your tables, you've got your army, your dice, and you're ready to go. And you might just forget that moment or forget the situation that you're in. And that's, of course, we want to achieve the fact that you can kind of get away from your routine or get away from the worries or other things, maybe whatever might be going on in your life. But we do need to remind each other that this is still a thing, where we still need to maintain our social distancing.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be hard. And the only way we can really achieve that, the way to achieve that the best is to tell each other. So the Alliance Open crew will tell people who are currently forgetting it. We're not assuming that it's intentional. It's just like,
no, that's,
you completely imagine that you kind of go back to the old way. You kind of forget about it for a moment, but don't be upset if people from our team tell you or the other player tells you, because people can still. The good thing is if people just tell each other like, hey, would you mind? I like you a lot, but let's.
And then you should respect that without saying like, oh, you should not. Then you should respect that. Okay, you think of COVID like that way. Okay, I respect your opinion. The same as that we have in Holland. We of course have those virus guys that like it's a website that says this is all bullshit.
I know.
I'm not into that stuff, but I respect their opinion. Even though I'm like, okay, why do you risk someone else's life? But I can't imagine that it can be so hard that you can actually think about like, okay, is this what I want? Is this real or whatever? So just keep in mind, as if we tell you, please keep your distance to someone else, it's not because we don't like you. It's not because that other player doesn't like you. It's because he wants to keep safe. And we've actually had a friend who had COVID, right? And he actually was hospitalized. I'm not going to name any names, but it's he's around our age. It's not like he's 60.
Yeah.
He has been in the hospital, so we have seen what it does.
And it's ultimately I kind of draw this parallel usually from my work experience within safety or like quality or food safety, which is usually people perceive you as the police. Right, the police who's going to tell you what to do, or whenever that person arrives, you need to follow the rules. That's not what it's about. It's about you. It's about keeping you safe. Because we have a responsibility as an organization team to keep you safe and do the best of our abilities to do so. But you have to carry your own responsibility as well. Yeah, and it will probably happen. It will probably happen that people have to be told that this and this can be done, or please pay attention to this and this, but we will uphold our regulations. So we've taken that into our tournament regulation for at least definitely for this year, and probably extended to early next year, depending on how things go, that we reserve the right to say, okay, look, you're obviously not taking this seriously, you have to leave. And we will uphold that regulation, because it's not about your safety, it's about everybody's safety.
Indeed.
And it sounds very extreme. It sounds very extreme, and it's not something we want to do, but if necessary, we will do.
Indeed. Yeah, and that's simply thinking about health. If you come to think about like we have to think about it as a company as well. If we do not proceed on all the things that we said, there could be like the police or the government says, okay, well, you have not done everything you needed to do. Here's a fine.
Look, we want to make sure that when we lay down these regulations, that this is what we're going to do, and it doesn't matter who comes to look. Like if the government comes to the police, it doesn't matter. We can say, look, we're doing exactly as we should.
Yep.
And that's just the best way. That's the only way to do it, in my opinion. Like, it should be the way the government prescribes that, and that is the way it is. And if you don't want to understand or don't respect that, well, then you'll be sent away.
Yeah, and I think that's also the
Again,
hardest part.
everybody needs to be comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also the hardest part about these regulations. That I know I'm like a people pleaser. That's my thing. So if someone says, "Okay, I will not do it again," I believe him that he will not do it again. But there will be some times that I would say, "Okay, it's okay. Just try to think of it." And maybe CJ, being CJ, or Peter, or you, or whatever, says, "Well, sorry, mate. This is the third time we're going to ask you to leave. You will not just pack your stuff and go. You will not get anything. Like, it's just done. It's the same as a disqualification when you get a red card in our tournament. It's exactly the same.
It doesn't even have to go to a third time. It's like you get the warning, like, look, we're all trying to do this. Please help us. Like, we all need to do this together. And then, when it's not taken up, then we have to take action, right?
Yeah.
So, intrinsically, for example, for our September events, we have every table separated. Every table has at least, I believe, 2 meters in radius around each table.
6 feet around every table, yeah.
Exactly. And the people who've been to our events, they know how much space, especially in the Amsterdam
They
venue,
already had, we already had a lot of space.
You know how much space we have, and we are using almost all of it. We're making sure that every table is separate. So yes, we need more tables, and we can't do any efficient positioning. That's fine. Everything will be separated. So there's no chance that you're like bumping in your backs to another player behind you or to the side. You have the space you need.
Yep.
We just need you to maintain it yourself as well.
Yeah. So, and if tomorrow or Thursday they would say, okay, you have to wear masks, let us tell you this: we will not provide you with any mask, but we will have some masks in reserve. But you have to bring your own mask. We will not be, and they are for sale. They are not like, okay, here you have a reserve spare mask. We have our own masks. You have your mask. If you lose yours, you have to buy one.
Exactly. And if we need them, if this is a mandate from tomorrow's government announcement in the Netherlands, just like what they do in Germany right now, and I think other countries already as well. So I would not be surprised if that's the case. Indeed, bring your own, because take it from me, wearing these all day, if you wear one all day, which is not comfortable, it starts to hurt your ears. It starts to hurt your ears behind with the elastics and everything. I've been wearing these like sometimes for long periods of the day, like mornings or maybe sometimes the whole day. You make sure you pick a comfortable one, and if we provide you with a basic one, perhaps it's something you won't like or it doesn't fit well or whatever. So make sure
you gotta take it off, and then you have a problem because you don't think about the rules, and then we have to warn you again, and then you go.
Exactly. So this is the way how we'll do it at the Hanseatic Open in Bremen in October.
Yeah.
Germany has the mask, like the obligatory wearing of masks, and we tell everybody bring your own. But we're looking into how to provide reserve spares if needed, but make sure for a comfortable one, make sure you bring your own.
Yep. Yeah, indeed.
Indeed. I don't want to get too ahead of the facts, but if that's the case, if this happens tomorrow, then we were already ready.
We will announce it anyway. So
exactly. But man, boy, do I want to play games with you guys.
That's so true.
If this is the only hurdle to take, I will gladly take it 10 times.
Yeah, indeed.
Just to roll some dice with you guys. Come on.
Can you actually hear my phone ringing now, or not?
No.
Okay, good. Because my phone is ringing, and I just don't want to pick it up.
It's very, very little. Now I don't hear it, so it's
okay. So, just we talked about tables a little.
Yes.
So we will probably at the Super Major, we will make sure that all tables are loose as well. They're not touching each other. And actually, with the new measurements of those tables, we actually had like a kind of a little bit of leniency to make it a bit more spacious for us.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's looking very good.
Who knew that the 40K smaller table sizes, instead of being able to pack more people in the same venue, is actually better to spread more people out and provide safety. So I'm all good for. I'm all okay for that.
Yeah. So just thinking about that, I mean, we already talked about all our new products before this video. So I just want to ask you. I mean, you've seen everything being like designed by CJ and by talking like what is better, how should we do. So what do you think is like the biggest addition to this release? Like, what do you think is the best set?
So the best set, because the biggest addition, I think there's all good additions there. I'm really interested in the fact that we add a forest type piece of terrain. Because that has much more gaming, gaming potential now on the table than it had before.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick the coolest piece, I would say it's the industrial forest that CJ designed, because that it's like this broken column with the metal like wiring rebar sticking out of the concrete. I think it has a lot of character. It shows
kind of new, right?
Sorry?
It's kind of new, like something you haven't seen before.
Yeah. And exactly, and it's really I mean, of course, we had, especially for the 9th Age or for Age of Sigmar, we had a lot of forests with trees that were movable. But now to have a forest-type piece of terrain in the theme with another table theme, which could be industrial, it could be eCronian, it could be Aelven architecture, provides you with a good excuse to not just put forest on every table.
Yeah.
Because if I would play at home and I would put my whole like sector mechanicus down and I just put like plants and trees in the middle,
that would be so weird.
It feels off.
Yeah.
And now you can really like theme it completely into your table, and the fact that you can take the pieces of the forest, like the columns, the industrial columns with the concrete columns, you can take them out, which is just super nice for storage.
Yeah.
But it's amazing in game because you can just move that thing away, put your models down because they're in the forest.
Yep.
But you don't have to you're not like wobbly modeling them on top of a forest somewhere. And I think that's excellent design.
Yeah, and that you can still turn them around, so you can actually still like, okay, so in a tournament you would not just turn around something and then now I can see you, but to make sure that you can make it any way you want to make it. Like, okay, I want this big piece in the middle, I want it on the side or something. So you also have that flexibility to make different ones.
Exactly, and just because the assets, or I think at least one of the assets has the 5-inch height. Even if you would say, okay, in this game I'm gonna make it obscuring, you can, because it does have a terrain feature that's at least 5-inch height.
And then you have the major like height. Yeah. We're probably not gonna do it like at an event, not at the first one, because we want to try out like the dense terrain rules instead of the obscured ones, because a lot of things are obscured, of course, in the new rules. So we don't want to over obscure everything, because then you won't see anyone.
No, but it does give you the flexibility as a consumer. When you buy this kit, you can decide to build it. You decide to fix it in place or whatever. So you have the options.
Yeah, and that's with all the forests. Like, okay, so
the options. It legitimately fits into the rules. So.
Yep. So that industrial team. I mean, I've played on your table in The Hague on the what's it called, like the old school sector. Not that was a Cities of Death, was already industrial. So that industrial stuff really seems to fit your seems to suit you. So
for sure, like when I get the choice of the chance to have a table again at home, because now I don't, because it's everything's like super small. But in the next iteration of where we live, or when we're back in the Netherlands, I would love to have some of those kits on my table at home.
Yeah, and then of course, even though you would maybe not be living very very large, you could like store the new ruins in a small box with the new like forest and stuff.
That's for sure.
And those I mean, those ruins now actually can be opened or closed with the mirror. Right. So I think that making it that flexible, and even like the price is a little bit higher, but it's not even that much higher. It's like €4 or something. And then you can choose, okay, I'm going to leave this window open. I'm going to close this one, keep this door open or whatever. That actually gives you the flexibility that you need to make to use terrain. Indeed.
So you leave that choice to the consumer.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing to do. Like they don't have to say like, I want either this or that. You can have both, or you can decide, or you can put them back in or whatever. Like you can work it out and fit it to your needs.
Have you actually ever played on the ruin sets?
No,
No,
No, I
right?
haven't.
You were already gone,
No.
right? Oh,
I know. Like when that was designed and when we started releasing that, I was already like in the last stages of moving.
yeah.
So no, I have not played on those yet. Only on Tales of Simulator.
But believe
The,
me,
character.
those
Yeah.
things are like when you play on them and you're like, okay, I can hide my army, but it's still not like overpowered. Like sometimes you have the big piece in the middle that covers your whole army. Well, this says, okay, you have a smaller corner. It actually is so
Yeah.
good just to simply think about it. Like, okay, I can hide Mortarion. I mean, I can hide a flyer. I mean, that's so good.
Exactly. It's really interesting. It's like I'm really looking forward to seeing them all in action because I mean I've seen, of course, I've worked with the videos where we all put them into one box and they pack super small.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I really I'm looking forward to being back.
And with the new Necrons, you can do that as well. It has two fewer buildings, but it has a lot more detail. It's like really teamed. I mean, those CJ actually did an outstanding job because the pyramids we had before, they were not that good. We know that. We have heard a lot of players say, okay, this is not ideal. Okay, no problem. Let's make it more ideal, and that's what we did now.
Exactly. So now they are more functional, and they can also, this design can be stored in a really small package because they'll fit inside each other, and that's super useful. Like not only as a TO, because we are lugging, I don't know, like Nurgle knows how many boxes we're lugging around every tournament, but now, like, you know, everything just gets a lot smaller. It's super efficient.
We actually thought that we could, if we would do the only event we would do was 40K, this event in September, and we would only use our smaller sets. We could actually go by car, and not have like a truck or something. So
it saves a lot of space. But what's actually your favorite release in this pre-order week?
I actually think it's still the corner pieces for making the mats smaller, because making the mats smaller has such huge impact on the game, and you can actually not say, okay, I'm gonna play 6x4, and then still expect the same results if you go small. It's just such a big impact, and
I believe the table, there's only 76% of the table left, right? After going from the old size to the new size, it's like a 76%.
Yeah, it's around 24, 25-ish% that you lose. And what we see a lot of good possibilities to make your thing smaller. Like cut it is not would not have my vote, but I've seen people cutting it. I've seen like strokes you put on the side from MDF or something else.
Like all around.
And I like them all. The only thing that I don't like is that they're rather big, all of them, and they are quite expensive. I love the quality of some of that I've seen, but this is small. Everyone can take this in his bag. It's easy, and you can actually use it as a template for your deep striking or for being within sections of the side. So it actually has multiple functions.
Indeed.
You can just take it and put it back on. You can take it from the corner, put it back.
Yeah, we've been of course doing some research when we had this idea, and we were looking around and trying to find other products that do something similar or like to get to the same goal. But I think this is currently the cheapest option, unless without damaging or altering your table or mat.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, of course, you need to do some extra measurements on the sides because it's not a completely surrounded thing. But I mean, otherwise, we figured, of course, when you do deployment zones and Vanguard and all those kind of crazy deployment maps, you also put the dice down and make sure you measure everything out.
And if you really want to do that, you can still have our deployment markers. Our acrylic deployment markers. So that's we already have something for that. So that's
exactly so for €7.50, you've got your table size reduced.
Yep.
And I mean, personally, like currently, I don't have a mat here, of course. I don't have a table to play on. But I would prefer this choice myself at home, just because I don't have to cut or change, or when you start cutting your mats, the rest start to ruffle on the sides.
Yeah, we've heard stories. Yeah.
We get a lot of mileage out of our mats. They go to a tournament, get in the bag, out of the bag. There's a lot of action.
They already are a bit stringy at some places, which is okay. I mean,
it's quite an asset if you look at the amount of mats the Alliance Open has. there's a lot of money involved in all that product. And then, to permanently change it, we said, well, we would rather have something less permanent.
Yep.
Because if you play Age of Sigmar, you need to go back to the old table size.
Yeah. So just think, for viewers, at the Super Major we have to have 128 mats, 129 mats, because we have a stream table. So just imagine a little bit how many. It's not about. I don't care about euros, but how many mats we would have to cut. I think that would take a week already.
Yeah, I can't do that to you guys. So like, you know what? Start cutting all those mats, or start taping them all off, or start like there were many ideas also, like painting a little line. But that would also just show if you play another game. Like,
yeah,
this is.
I think this is the most subtle way to do it.
I'm very happy with this.
Yeah. So
I hope.
So the boards got smaller, and the rules on all the tables has like all the terrain has the biggest impact in the game. Or do you think that there are like other major changes that impact the game this much?
Well, yeah, like you said, the board change is big. I think coherency has a big change, of course, a big impact. Especially like for armies I used to play, Plague Bearers and this kind of thing. So that definitely has an impact. There's a lot of changes going on. I believe I heard some other things, like other rumors going around with some more changes coming, like in melta weapons and all this kind of thing. So I'm not really sure what is next.
Yeah.
And if there's probably more to come. But yeah, the meta will be definitely shook up. But I'm quite happy sitting here in Hong Kong with my Death Guard.
Yeah, you can just wait for the meta to form, and when you come back, you're like, bam.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean. The thing, I just hope I can make some games with that army before the end of the chapter approved comes around, because that'll change everything again.
Yeah, again.
And maybe Death Guard will get a shorter end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, terrain rules have a big difference. I'm not so sure about strategic reserves yet. I've played a couple of games on TTS, and I feel like the game is largely played in the first couple of turns, and then your reserves might be too late. Because it's just the carnage in turn 2 and 3 is almost enough to kind of just make those last decisions. And especially for my lists, I want those forces on the table to participate instead of coming in.
Yeah, for Death Guards, I can actually see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you need to either stand mid board or something. I just had some. I just tried something out. I just played against someone and say, you know what, let's put these things in reserve. Let's see how it goes. But I was not sold on it yet. But that could just be the army.
Yeah. I mean, I played with Dark Angels, very elite forces with not a lot of models, and then you really want to have like my Terminators in reserve, so they can drop in front of it after all my screening has been shot. Okay, turn 2, I have a blob of Terminators right in front of you. Good luck with that. Try to kill it.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty hard to pick secondaries against such a Terminator list.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be on an objective and say, okay, well, come take me off, and I'm just gonna shoot you.
Exactly, because getting more kills is pretty hard on tough infantry.
Yep.
You don't get the vehicle killing options, the monster killing options, not the Titanic options.
Usually they are multi-wounds, so not the Reaper stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think engage on all fronts is the one that gets the most mileage every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
also because the board is smaller.
Speaking from your perspective, with all your infantry, like those actions like raising the banners and everything, you have. Almost your whole army can do it.
Yeah.
It's not like you play knights and you have a couple of infantry and a patrol just to get some boots on the ground, which gets shot off, and then you just lose that option. I think knights will have a tough time in 9th anyway. But
with
an infantry heavy list, in your case, especially those Terminators are very heavy infantry, I think it could be very, very interesting.
Yeah. So going a little bit back into the terrain, because we kind of have to, we're already talking for 40 minutes. You don't know that, but we're already talking for 40 minutes.
Okay.
So going back to the terrain, the obscured rules, the dense rules, do you think they have the impact on the game that GW had in mind? Because that's, I don't know what they had in mind, but it seems like they want to make a big change in the game with just changing their terrain rules.
Right. So, ultimately it all comes down, of course, to what your terrain layout will be. We've seen a couple of good proposals going around from different big tournaments. And I think, the obscuring one, I mean, we had quite a nice discussion within the team actually earlier this week about the obscuring, like between rules as written, rules as intended, where we see some competitive groups actually going with the intended route, whilst as written, it's actually, it seems like a lot of units have wall hacks and can just shoot through walls even though they can't see them. So it needs some more clarification, I would say, to really, put the cherry on the cake and say, that's it.
Yeah.
We nailed it. So I think they're almost there, but really on the good way, on the right path. But it could just need that little tweak and say, look, guys, this is what we really meant.
Just to clarify, if GW would like bring out like an infographic with only not with words, but only with like examples. So this is dense. This means that this guy will get -1 to hit, whatever.
Yeah.
So that like that would be the ultimate way to inform everyone of what it should do.
I think so too. Of course, we made a kind of it's not an infographic, but like a summary of rules and how they interact and what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that's still up on our Facebook.
Yeah, we can actually repost it.
Need it, so we can link it again for people. It's just a summary of what the new rules, what every keyword does, and which combination.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see the examples that Goonhammer gave, for example, when the rules just came out, they kind of help painting a picture, because GW has gone the extra mile by they actually use, for a non-English speaker like myself, sometimes I was like, okay, what did I just read? But in the end, they really try to nail every situation down, which is a commendable effort, let's be honest here. And then the bullet points underneath kind of summarize it. And if you need the detail, you can go back in. And that's why I'm saying, I think they're really on the right track. They're almost there. But maybe just to be sure, could be good to add a little bit more graphic representation, because there's still some things that feel strange just because you're used to the previous edition.
Yep.
Because the abstractness of putting your toe in terrain and then being inside and being able to shoot out of it is a change I really have to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's better to stand behind it. Okay, that makes sense. But then when I step a toe in, suddenly,
you can see me and I can shoot you. And
this piece of solid rock turns into a piece of solid glass almost. Of course, you still have true line of sight inside the building, but it's a shift.
It's a mind shift that is very hard to grasp.
Yeah, and I think in a couple of months we'll all be used to it. It's all hunky dory.
Same as going from 7th to 8th edition.
Exactly, but now that we're working on a rules pack for our September events, and we're trying to wrap our head around what's going on, we need to kind of figure it out as quick as we can to make sure we provide any clarification to players, so that it's easier for them.
Okay.
If something's unclear.
Okay, so big change on the terrain rules. We wanted to like nip it in the bud and say it. Okay, we're gonna make those forests. We actually have 3 designs now with like 3 different designs, and then you have the normal forests. Do you have any other ideas that we could like do for those forests? Because it's gonna be, I'm gonna tell everyone watching, I'm gonna think about more designs to use those forests for. So maybe you have an idea as well.
I think what could be cool is, of course, you can expand this idea with multiple things. Like you could turn it into like kind of Tau architecture, perhaps, or we could do Tyrannid, like spore tendrils coming out of the ground, or you could even consider maybe making different fences. Like we've got these concrete, like the industrial set. You've got the concrete pillar with the rebar sticking out. I think maybe if you take that rebar and perhaps make it into like sheets, which kind of could cross or overlap, it also makes it dense. It's like fencing or something.
Yeah.
Which feels dense, and it's still removable. You could twist it and turn it, but it might be an interesting version.
Yeah, or maybe do like I was thinking about a chaos thing. Like, okay, you have a statue that has been, because you can easily, even with MDF, you can easily get like a statue that fell down with like the 7-star or something or whatever.
For sure.
Or the 8-star.
For sure.
So I was thinking maybe some chaos, or maybe like remake an Iron Maiden, or maybe like a prison or whatever on top of there. So we have actually a few designs in our head. So I think the variance in our terrain pool has just grown in like 2 weeks of designing, or a little bit more weeks, but in 2 weeks of releasing models, we have like expanded it so big that we actually have to keep going now. We cannot stop. Impossible.
For sure. The amount of variety now in mixing and matching, especially the industrial range, which has everything from the sprylos to the walkways to like factories of moving doors,
to
and then
containers.
The combinations are massive, and also it's something that's of course come online. I believe that it's also this week that we have different combinations of sets now available.
Yeah.
So you can either mix or match it yourself, or you can go for a completely style, like an industrial style table with the sprylos, or like not at all. Or there's so many more combinations possible now.
Yeah,
which adds a lot, and and to be honest, it adds a lot to our Eldar, Eldari, and the Aelven and the eCronian sets.
Yeah.
It adds a lot of needed terrain pieces.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dennie, I think it's time to kind of wrap up this talk about a lot of things. Is there something you still want to say to the people watching, to I don't know, to your mom and dad at home or whatever?
There's a lot of things I want to say. I don't think I can fit that into this video. But people who know me know how much value I add to my social circles, all the friends and family I have back home. So all I can say is I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody again in November. It's been a crazy year for everybody. It's also a crazy year when you move halfway across the globe. And the November event and that trip is really one of the dots in the horizon that keeps me going, I would say.
Okay.
So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Well, thank you for coming on again, and well, I'll talk to you in a minute, and the other people, everybody who wants to talk to Dennie, just go into Discord, ask him stuff, ask the ears of his head. I don't know what it said in English, but just talk to him. He doesn't mind.
Exactly.
And he'll talk back to you anyway. Maybe you can have a little talk in chat or whatever.
Exactly. Even though I'm on the other side of the world, I'm still like very much connected to what's going on. So I'm the guy in the background now, the digital fronts and everything, trying to help the team over there.
Okay.
So make sure that when you reach out, for sure we'll reach me. So don't worry.
Thank you very much, and see you. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll talk later about, I don't know what we're talking about. That's something that we have to think about. See you guys.
Definitely. Yes.
Yep, we're back.
And we're back. Finally.
Yep. That was a long interview, dude.
Yeah.
But lots of cool topics discussed.
Yeah, it was a blast for me to talk with Dennie about stuff like that again and make it not like only. I talk to him privately a lot, but this is just finally we can speak to each other for wargaming. Yeah, I mean wargaming and the rest of the world, right? So that's
yes.
So yeah, it was a good talk, and I really liked that we could do this. And this was our first try with a pre-recorded interview, and I think
it went very well.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll probably do more in the future.
I think so too. Yeah, it's a good way to talk to people that might not be able to come online at just the right time.
Yeah.
But it's still a very interesting talk.
Yeah.
And, it's good to put on.
And this way we can actually do a little more in the chat than we have to rely on our moderators like CJ or whoever is online. So we can actually keep up with the chat.
Yeah.
Which is very, very good. And
Excellent.
it also is a good test way to see, okay, maybe we can do a long interview.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
We can actually play a turn of a game.
We could actually, you could mix it up.
And then we can maybe see if we can do a game in a whole show.
We can do
something
that,
we can think about. So that's very good for me.
Exactly.
So Dennie is actually going to go to bed.
Okay.
He actually seen the interview. I think he's very happy as well. So
yeah, it was a good interview.
Have a great sleep.
Well done, Dennie.
It's 3, it's 3:30.
Yeah, over there. Yeah, and he probably needs to get up quite early, or maybe not. It's Saturday next day, so
he doesn't have.
Does he have weekends?
He doesn't.
Does Hong Kong do weekends?
Actually, how his study works is that he usually has colleges in the weekend.
Oh, gee, so he has to.
His holiday is started right.
Okay. There you go.
So, as you guys may have seen, we had a few orders already, so we're very happy.
Yeah.
We had one big one going to Canada, so that's our first transatlantic shipment.
That's going to be a
their way.
very long shipment, by the way.
So he actually took a full Aelven and the full eCronian set.
Yeah, that's very cool. So it's we'd like to think that he saw it on the stream.
Yeah.
And said I had to have it.
And we really hope that he actually.
We hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. So
we hope you enjoy it. Wait, that's not Canada. No, it is
it
Canada.
is
Yeah.
Okay. So
please don't cancel your
what we
subscription now.
did this Sunday, we're gonna have a club day for the Breda Strike Force,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually asked me to bring some of those table sets around. So I'm
Okay.
just gonna get the box.
He's gonna get the box, fellas.
Get the box.
He's going over there.
And I'm just gonna show you guys because they wanted to have the eCronian set maybe.
Okay.
So this is one IKEA box with one full table of factory set
Okay.
and a full table of eCronian.
And it's all inside one box.
It's all inside one box. So this
That's
is just,
magic.
The only thing you're missing now is mats.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So that's not something we do. That's
No.
what we have.
that's not our niche.
And show them a little doodly that you made.
I made some doodly. I don't know. It's not really readable.
No.
It's a lot of doodly dits. These aren't boobs, by the way. Just. But yeah.
And I was thinking on how I should what you see over here. This
Yeah.
bones. These bones are
You
actually
need to
gonna
scooch
be
over a little bit more to the side. Just
Like-
show the bones. Yeah, that's better.
like this one, right?
No.
Like this.
No. Just do this.
Yeah. It's gonna go there.
There you go.
These are actually real dog bones, but these used to belong to my uncle is like a veterinarian.
Is he?
And, yeah, so he and this was still at my grandma's house,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he didn't want it anymore. So I thought, okay, I'm a biology teacher, so I can
Yeah.
use it for my classes as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also make terrain out of it. So this is going to be a table in the realm of grr.
In the realm of grrr.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is gonna be an awesome table. It's gonna be on I'm gonna make bases for it, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be a sandy dune kind of style.
Yeah, you got some runes there as well, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
You're
got
talking about
temple,
the runes
So
things
we're gonna make
over
grr
there?
and temples. So
Grr and temples. There you
Where
go.
is it? Where is it?
I don't know. You put it in the box, in the
So much-
magic
There's
box.
so much stuff. And I think Denny has already left the building, but he actually brought these from Mexico. So these are
Okay.
real. These
Ancient
are
Mayan tablets.
yeah. So we're gonna use it for terrain.
Mm.
I mean that sounds good, right?
I mean, what better use
Yeah.
do we have for them? Not much.
really. So I think it's actually time to kind of wrap up the show. We're
think so
kind of
too,
like giggly now because it's rather tiring being in this hot environment.
I've grown accustomed to it, but I mean, we have been streaming for, let's see here, for almost 2 hours.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like long enough. So to wrap everything up, we had a great show. We had we've shown our pre-orders. We've talked numbers
Yep.
as usual. We talked about our painting competition. We've seen Denny.
You've seen Denny.
online and on
He was in the chat,
in the chat.
and we saw him on the screen.
So that was good, and I'm very thankful that we've seen a lot of patrons on the stream. So
Yeah,
we've
it was a
seen
lot, yeah.
I think that shows the strength of the community here.
We love
in,
our patrons.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
for those of you guys watching who has not yet become a patron, please consider becoming a patron.
It's
This way we can do what we do. This is we do this in our free time.
Yep.
And it always is good that we do it in our free time and still be able to do that without massive event.
Yeah, for
investing
sure.
and stuff.
Yeah, I
So,
think Patreon and our Discord channel for Patreon members.
Yeah.
It's a fun place.
Yeah.
We said it before, but we'll say it again. It's growing a lot more. Its community's growing, and so subsequently people are talking more to each other.
Yeah.
And we put lots of info in there as well. And usually we put info in there before it goes out to the
public.
non-Patreon public, right? So you kind of get scoops on stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a fun place to be. And
Yeah.
Risen Air says, don't forget that the 23rd
Day.
is our train day. Yeah.
Yeah. So our terrain days are like they're not becoming legendary yet, but it's like once a month we're gonna sit around, make tables of terrain for our events. We'll provide lunch, we'll provide drinks. Afterwards we're gonna eat something, and we're gonna have a laugh. Usually it's gonna be pizza. Sometimes it's gonna be barbecue or
Yeah,
whatever.
some wild rodent.
Yeah.
we
wild
find in-
rodent, Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna send Stefan out into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
realm, in the
I've
realm
done it
of
before. I've done it into the realm of grrr. And I'll come back, and and if you do that, we'll have more bones.
Yeah,
And we could
so
skin
that's
the
how
animal.
it works.
have
That's
more
how
bones.
we make our
That's
tables.
how we make our terrain.
So we're first gonna hunt.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna make tables from
Inside
bones
the
we
realm of
find.
grrr.
Yeah. So this time the training is gonna be the 23rd of August.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bit crowded actually because
Is it?
we already have Visionaire incoming. We have Brutal incoming.
It's gonna be
we
brutal.
Have, I think we have a few more incoming. So it's gonna
Yeah,
be.
it's gonna be it's gonna be jolly bunch.
Yeah, it's gonna be probably mostly fantasy stuff and some 40k stuff, but mostly fantasy stuff.
We've
because
done a lot
I
of
have
40k
big-
last time, right?
No, we did a lot of the 9th Age. Actually.
Was that the 9th age?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the we were spray painting? Oh yeah, we were painting.
You did all the
Yeah.
plasticky.
Yeah,
whole
the
freaking
carving
logo.
of the plastic.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. I want to thank you guys. If you know people who want to buy terrain and are thinking about, okay, I want to buy a lot of terrain, just let them contact us. Maybe we can do a little some. Or we can, if we come to your club, if you say, okay, we have a club day and
With
we
your
want to
homies.
test out your terrain,
Mhm.
we'll come over, want to play a game, of course, but we'll also give you the terrain to play on, same as in Breda Strike Force.
Okay.
Stefan,
Sounds
is
good.
Is there something you'd like to add?
I love you all.
And you want to give a shout out to someone, to your mom?
I love Kirsten very much. My girlfriend, I guess. I love my mom
now you
too.
Now you're putting me on the spot.
You have
I
to
love
do it
Misha
as well.
very much
Yeah,
as
there you
well,
go. Love your spouses. You only have one.
Yeah. We'll see you next week, same time, 7:45. Have a great show again. Have a laugh again, and maybe some more scoops because there's gonna be more.
You get the scoops. All right,
Yeah.
everybody. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch you guys next Friday.
See ya.